Halloween and my birthday. I should probably throw my wedding in there, my anniversary in there as well. So it's one of my top 5 favorite days of the year.
Okay. I like how you say it's your favorite day of the year. You're like, besides this, and this, and this.
Well, I feel like I need to include those. They're right up there, which is huge.
Well, happy One Tree Hill Day. We should probably say what the day is.
I know it's One Tree Hill Day. September 23rd, 2003 changed my world forever.
When they fixed your car, they fixed your heart.
They sure did.
Yeah, 19 years ago. That means next year is a special anniversary.
I know, but it's. I remember thinking, like, I wasn't even alive 19 years when the show started. Like, I
Neither was
couldn't.
I. Ooh, I
I was
can say
like,
that
I was like,
too.
when I was 17, I was like, oh, okay, or 16, I think. I couldn't say like, who 19 years ago. I had, I'm
Mhm.
my shows are starting to get anniversaries.
Well, today, in honor of One Tree Hill Day, we watched an episode from season 4. So let's roll the credits and we'll talk about it. Okay. I think my computer froze for a second.
Oh, I was like, all right, Tommy, you gonna speak?
Did you say something to me?
No, I waited because I
Oh.
was afraid it was on my end.
Oh. Well, happy One Tree Hill Day, everybody. Last year we did the 100th episode of the show in
Now
honor
we're
of One Tree
going
Hill
backwards.
Day. This year we did an episode from season 4 that was the prom episode,
Hmm.
which kind of gets blurry for me because the episode before it's called Prom Night at Hater High, so I always think that that's the prom episode.
Even though I love this show and I can tell you certain things, I still want to go to that first prom episode when I look to the episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like
so
when I'm trying to find it.
yeah. But this time I knew that, so go looking at it because I watched it on HBO Max. I was like, okay, that's not
That's where I watched
it.
it.
um, it's kind of surreal because the show has kind of taken on a new life, especially with the Drama Queens podcast.
Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens. I can't
And
help it. I love.
they're about to wrap up season 3 already. They're
I know
like
it's
5 episodes
crazy.
away.
It's crazy.
They just did the school shooting episode, which was really hard to listen to. They were very emotional during it.
Well,
But it
I
was a
could
good episode.
imagine.
I was even
Especially,
like tearing up listening to them.
I mean, especially nowadays because school shootings are more kind of. It's almost an everyday occurrence. It seems. It's awful. So I could like that has to bring up lots of emotions. Because I know
uh,
Sophie, like they all had. Well, Sophia doesn't, but Bethany and Hillary have kids,
yes,
so it probably like
yeah.
some of this,
They
resonates
talked about that.
differently.
Yeah. So this episode picks up with the ending of the last episode, where we think Lucas is coming to pick Peyton up for the prom. Because she's kind of, in one of her moods. She doesn't want to go. She just got into a fight with Brooke over the fact that Brooke slept with Nathan and lied about it for a few years, and it came out in a videotape that was played at a party.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so Peyton pretty much was like, I'm done with you. They had like a brawl out on the front lawn.
There's a lot of One Tree Hill episodes. I can't remember how I felt when I watched it live.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, because I remember her like coming to open up the door. I was like, "Oh, there's Lucas," Yeah, she's go, and it is Derek, and I was like, "Oh my," like ah. And that was before binging things like that. So I had to wait a whole week. That was a stressful week.
And I could see them being jerks and making you wait like 2 weeks or a month for the next episode.
I don't think we had to. I don't think we had to, luckily.
Yeah.
But see, it was also one of those things too. That was the first season on the CW, and we were starting to wind down to the
Yeah.
end of the season. And my mind's also going, "Are we getting a season 5?" Like, you know,
That's
so
definitely a stress I remember well every year.
every May on the day of the upfront, I was like, I shouldn't have cared about the upfronts, but the CWs, I was like, refresh, refresh, refresh. Oh, whew. Okay,
Yeah,
I can go about my day.
I think from season 3 on is when I paid attention to that stuff
Hmm.
because with the network merger, I wasn't sure if One Tree Hill was going to get picked up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's good times. Very stressful.
I know. I'm shocked I wasn't on depression medicine sooner. Anxiety medicine.
um, so I always think back as season 3 and 4 as my favorite seasons, but
Okay.
season 3 is my favorite. Season 4 I have issues with. I don't like the clean teen storyline,
Okay. I
and God.
always wanted to get a clean teen shirt and wear it to my classes.
Well, I had a problem with it because Shelley was a hypocrite.
Well, see, I wouldn't have been because at the time I felt like I was going to be a virgin for life.
um, and honestly, something that came out in this episode is something I have a little bit of an issue with, and that is the reveal of who saw Dan shoot Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not realistic. Who's paying attention to that and what's in the background when there's somebody being held at gunpoint?
Open your eyes, Tommy.
um, that was definitely not planned. They did that after the fact. Because I've
Yeah.
gone looked back in the real episode and tried to see her.
Of course you have.
Just in case it was like an Easter egg and it really did happen.
It would have been interesting if they would have did that.
But you know what? That would have got leaked because they had an issue with their scripts being leaked.
Hmm.
They talked about it on the
What?
podcast. If it was a big episode, they got the scripts printed in red so they couldn't be copied.
Well, I think it's one of those things. This show was so popular, people went to Wilmington all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Watch, like, I went in between season 5 and 6. I was a week late to them starting to film. Still mad
I
about that.
know.
Still holding on to that one. I had never told my family. I was like, just leave me here and come back. I'm 21. I'll figure out something.
Yeah, if they were filming, I've seen in like special features they would like come out if they had a break and like sign autographs and take pictures and stuff. You like stop rubbing it
No,
in.
I know. The only one I have met is Tyler Hilton.
I had you got one up on me. I saw Gavin DeGraw twice. That's it. That's all I
And I have
got.
missed him twice. He came to the town where I went to college, and I think I was out of town or something. And then he
Uh-huh.
came to this festival, couldn't go. I was like, "What the fuck? Am I just not allowed to hear him sing? I don't want to be." I've seen Jenna Kramer in concert,
Oh.
and she performed "I Don't Want to Be." So I was like, "Well,
Oh, really?
yeah." It's like I'll take it.
um, so I like this episode because it's a little bit creepy, and you know we're approaching Halloween season.
Hmm.
Um, I like when Brooke comes to the house and she's actually tied up in the basement. The little one-liners.
Oh, well, one thing I liked about this storyline was it connected to season 2. She had that person who was watching her.
Yeah, watch me, watch you.
Yeah, and this Derek was him, I believe.
Yeah, I think I've tried to connect that in my head also. Because on rewatches, I'm like, okay, I'm really gonna pay attention this time to see how they resolve "Watch Me, Watch You," and then I'm just like, did they just like drop that story?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, maybe it was Ellie.
Nope, Psycho Derek.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Psycho Derek.
Well, yeah, because
Which,
he sent something and the Y, there was an extra Y.
I thought it was really cool and creepy that he made a song off of her podcast, and I was like, 2007 had podcasts,
Yeah,
and now she has a podcast about the show.
for the show. I know. I thought the same thing too. I never picked up on it until today.
I ca- I hope when they reach this episode that they like have a good laugh
Acknowledge it.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, I did not like Nathan's hair in this part of the series. It was a little too long.
They were doing the same thing with Lucas's hair. It was a little longer, and I was like, I don't,
Plus, when they switched to the CW, they like bleached blonde his hair. Like it was obviously bleached.
yeah, he got blonde. Bethany's hair got a little darker. His
Yeah.
got blonder.
um, so when Brooke and Peyton are tied up and they have the gags down, and she's like, "Did you tell anybody you were coming?" And she was like, "No." And she's like, "You should have told somebody." She's like, "You're so ungrateful." And she said, I forgot what she said, but I think it was Brooke that said, "Oh, shut up, bitch." And when they were really fighting, um, Peyton Hillary does crazy pretty well.
Yes, I was
When
like, ooh.
when she was trying to convince him to let her go so she could stab Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to remember. I was like, does she kiss him to kind of like seal the deal? And she did.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Bless
she
her
was gonna
heart.
bite his. I didn't know she was gonna bite his lip though to make him bleed. I was like, okay, that didn't
Mhm.
happen.
I just enjoy when Brooke's like, "What? Did you have to hit me so hard?" She's like, "I'm so
Yeah.
sorry."
I love when she's kicking his ass upstairs with her
Yes.
boxing gloves on. But when he headbutts her and she screams, I just feel her pain because she looks like she's in pain.
Yes. I remember being like, this. Oh, that part had me so. Because not long after that's when he rips her dress, and I just remember thinking, "Don't you fucking dare touch my like." I was very like, because like Peyton was a character that I always loved. Like I felt like she and I connected, so that was hard to watch for me because I
Yeah,
was like, oh, I wasn't ready for Peyton to deal with that kind of. Yeah, it was
but
hard.
but
But
then
then
my girl Brooke came to the rescue.
I know. I was like, yeah, get him, bro. She's like, how about two girls?
And then right as he
Oh.
would get the upper hand on one, the other one would come like jumping on him like a cheetah.
Well, I love those. They beat his ass in dresses. Brooke's dress
Yes.
was not. Hers was more fitting.
Yeah.
Peyton's, was a little bit more flowy. Her,
Yeah.
oh god, when she opened that door, she looked so beautiful before she opened that door. Like just that dress, her hair, everything was working for prom night.
um,
I lost one. But when they're kicking, oh yes, when they're kicking his ass, I'm like,
they did a good job with the stunts because
they
I
sure
was paying
did.
really close attention and I couldn't tell if there was a stunt double.
I
I'm
couldn't
sure there
either.
was.
Oh
I
yeah, of
can't.
course.
I can't wait to hear them talk about this because I want to know, like, if they really did some of the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested. I can't wait to hear them talk about this episode.
I also can't wait to hear them talk about the season finale of season 3 with the bridge and the limo going off the bridge and everything.
Oh my! I remember how I was. I was an emotional wreck.
See, I had fallen behind towards the end of season 3, so I watched that over the summer as I was like binging it.
See, One Tree Hill has one reason it has a special place in my heart is it brought me and my mom to get closer because we both fell in love with the show, and we every Tuesday at 7 or whenever it came on, we were watching it together.
Um, I got my grandmother into the show. Like when the seasons would come out on DVD, we would
Hmm.
binge it before the new season started. But that's how she would watch it. She didn't watch it on TV. I would watch it by myself, like in my room or whatever. That was like my show. But I would rewatch it with her.
Well, this show went through a lot of transitions with me. First, I would tape it on VHS, And then DVDs came out, so then I'd have the DVDs. Then I'd DVR it. I also went from high school to college to graduate school, all in the span of this 9 seasons. So that's why it's just like One Tree Hill's a big part of my life.
Oh yeah, I thought about it yesterday. I was 18 when this show started, and I was just shy of turning 27 when it ended. So it was with me through like most of my 20s.
Yeah, very formative years.
um, yeah, it was really sad. I was a little annoyed it ended at 9 seasons because I like my whole round even numbers.
You like?
It's like you couldn't do just because season 9 was a surprise.
It was. I wish
Especially
they
the way
would've-
season 8 ended. It was very like final. I felt.
I was like, film a full 22 episodes and then split them in half, so we had 10 seasons. That's what I wanted.
That would have annoyed me too, though.
Of course it would have. You can't be happy, can you?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that because I would have been like, you should just give it all to us. I just want it all.
So greedy, so greedy.
Well, I was very thankful we got a 9th season because it ended up being one of my favorites.
I enjoyed that one too. I love the darkness of it.
Mm-hmm.
It just it was soapy goodness.
I just remember that blonde rival of Brooks opening a cafe across the street, and she went over there and like caught mouth and like skills or whatever, and she like had the babies in her arms, and she was like, "Let's go," and she like made everybody leave. And then the blonde did something bad, and Brooke said something like, "I get it. I used to be a bitch for the sake of being one, but now I'm a bitch for my friends and family."
That was what I was about to say. She hired the person who attacked her and killed Quentin. Was one of the big reasons.
Oh. Yeah.
Because those two had a moment when I can't remember his name, when he tries to attack Brooke in like that car garage, and like she helps
Yeah.
save Brooke.
I didn't like that. I had an issue with that. I wanted Brooke to kind of save herself.
Yeah.
Because it was like Brooke's story arc.
And
Like she kicked his ass in season 6. I was like ready for her to do it again. So back to this episode though. After they kicked Psycho Derek's, which Derek isn't his real name, right? It was something else.
No, it was something else. And his obsession with Peyton, because his girlfriend that died resembled Peyton.
Mm-hmm. Which you think if he was crazy, he would just be calling her his girlfriend's name.
I wish they would have taken it a step far, because I don't feel like he knew Peyton long enough to be like, well, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I guess.
I don't know how his obsession starts.
I mean, I know how a normal obsession starts, like my One Tree Hill obsession. But that has spun years.
Yeah. It's festered and grown.
Yes. Because, I mean, I'll tell people, it didn't start out my favorite. I started watching it because Chad Montgomery was in Dawson's Creek. Then he did this failed TV pilot for The Lone Ranger, and he was in like this like wood hot tub thing, and he came up and you saw abs, and it was like, ooh. Yeah.
I heard about the Lone Ranger pilot, but I never watched it. I don't know if I missed it or I just didn't know what was going on. But I knew him from Gilmore Girls and then Dawson's Creek. I watched the pilot and I was like, I don't know about this show because I was like, it seems very sports heavy.
It was.
And at that point, I was all like, OC, do or die. So like, I was in that camp.
I tell people when they're like starting it or ask me, should I watch it? I'm like, yes, but you're going to have to get through the first 6 episodes, really. Because that's when One Tree Hill starts becoming One Tree Hill. It's around that 7th episode. And typically people will say, ooh, yeah, you're right. I'm glad I waited because it's like, I know, it's a little rough in the beginning.
I think I usually say the first 3 or 4 episodes. Because the 4th episode is the party, which I think is a good episode, where at the end Lucas finds Haley's hat in Peyton's car, which means she was hanging out with Nathan because she was tutoring him behind his back. Tutor girl. um,
Well, I just know by episode 7, you're fully hooked.
Yes. Another party episode. um, so the show is definitely one of the few shows that has made me cry. Do you remember the times One Tree Hill broke you? You're like, episode 7 through 187.
Okay. Season 1, when Lucas is hit.
Okay.
And Karen, when Karen finds out, like, that ends, like, it makes you think you're not getting a Keith and Karen at all anymore. Which, I would have done the same thing. He was drinking, had her son in the car. He's lucky. I would have kicked his ass. Put my baby in danger. I don't know if season 2 had any of those moments where it was like, it broke me. Season 3, the school shooting, and then that last episode when Haley's like, Nathan, like, oh, but that could have also been the emotions of not, like, thinking this could be the end. And I was going to have to go to New York City to talk to Dawn, who was running the CW.
Okay.
Season 4, Lucas's heart attack and Haley being hit. Hard moments. The moments, a happy broke me moment. See, I told you I had a lot. When he's like, it's you. And Peyton's, what? when all my dreams come true. You're the one I want sitting next to me. Like, just love it. Of course, the when you fix my car, you fix my heart moment.
That wasn't real, though.
I don't care. It was real in her mind. It was real in her mind, so it counts. It counts because it was in her mind.
Are you crying now?
Oh, the moment too when Lucas is like being mean to Peyton in season 5 and like saying you don't care about me, things like that, and she's like, if I don't care about you, then why do I pick up this stupid book every time I see it?
I was like, that's a lot of money.
I was like, now that's obsession.
Did you cry when he got really drunk after him and what's her name, the one he was gonna marry in season 5? Lindsay broke up, and he got really drunk, and he told Peyton that he hated her.
At first I thought, oh no, not when he got drunk, but that was for a second I forgot. Yeah, that was a hard moment. Season 6 was kind of happy until that very end, when I was like, if you fucking kill her because she's leaving this show, oh, it's on. I don't know if season 7 had any moments that broke me. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I do. Haley's mom died. When they played I Shall Believe, as they're just, I'm like, the mom hasn't really been part of the show. She's in a few episodes in season 2, comes back in 7, and I'm just like a mess. Season 8, when Brooke, her car runs off the road. Yes, I forgot one in season 6 when Brooke gets attacked, and Quentin dies, and then Quentin's funeral, and Jamie throws the cape over the coffin, and him and Brooke just kind of hold hands, and I'm like,
that retroactively made me cry. I didn't cry the first time I watched it, but in a rewatches I have cried watching this.
Because I just remember thinking, Brooke got attacked. Like, I couldn't imagine that. In the space that she feels safest in, which was her shop, she gets attacked and robbed. And then 2, just thinking, that poor little boy's having to learn about death like this early on.
That was sort of being narrated with Sam's poem being read over it. And she said something like, people said that he could fly and now he can, as like Jamie was throwing the cape over the coffin. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna cry.
Also, that moment when Quentin's brother and Jamie they go to the graveyard. They bring a cookie.
Oh
I
yeah.
did not know a moment like that could have make me sad. I'm not saying I like bawled, but being like cried. And then season 9 was just every episode was this is it was towards the end. I
Mhm.
remember getting emotional when they sang "I Don't Want to Believe" or "I Don't Want to Be," and they
Mhm.
pan to the group singing, and they're all just like, "I don't want to be." Yeah,
All right, you ready for mine?
sorry. You're like, "Do you have any more?"
Are you done?
Play the music.
um,
Play the music to send me off.
I don't recall any crying moments in the first two seasons for me. Season three, when Ellie dies, when Peyton brings her ashes and she says, "Let's say hi to my mom, mom." I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm broken.
I forgot that because there's also the moment when she walks in and has died and she's got the CDs.
Ooh,
Oh
and
my
she
god, I
drops them.
forgot. Yes, I forgot. Okay, sorry, not to add
You're
another one
like,
to
oh,
my
ooh,
list.
ooh, me too. That was I did not cry when Keith was shot. I think I was more in shock that it happened. However, I did cry during the episode where Lucas was going to go to Jimmy's funeral and his mom tried to stop him and she slapped him.
Uh,
And he said, "I'm going. It's what Keith would want." And he walked out and then she broke down crying. And then you see the scene of the mom by herself at her son's grave and then the boys from the river court start walking up. Oh my god. I'm getting like
I remember being so sad when the mom like the school shootings happened. They got everyone in the gym, and the
Mhm.
mom's just like Jimmy Edwards. Like she's looking for her son. She's worried if he's
Yeah.
alive, not knowing. I remember that. Just there's something about that woman that broke me with her scenes.
She was a local, and I think she's like a
I think
college
so.
professor. I've seen
Well,
in like special features.
she was damn good.
Um, there was also a very sweet scene where they didn't want Jimmy in the yearbook, and Mouth had one made with him in the yearbook and gave it to the mom. That was sweet.
Yeah.
Um, season four, did I cry at all? I think I may have cried in the finale because it just felt,
Happy tear.
yeah, like sad and happy. Um, five, nothing.
You hot
Six,
for
I
this bitch. No, I'm just playing.
six, I cried when Brooke decided not to leave town with Julian because of Sam, and they had like that breakup like airport scene, and then she went home and broke down crying. That broke me. The Quentin scene retroactively with the cape. The finale where she went to LA to tell him that she loved him. That broke me. Um, Also, season six when Peyton and Lucas had like that weird like, I think it was a standalone episode where they were kind of fighting back and forth because he wanted her to basically have an abortion because it was
Yeah.
it was a, I don't know, a bad pregnancy, and she said she was not going to give up the baby even though she could
Hmm.
die. I think I cried during that episode. Um, Season seven, cried when Haley's mom died. And I cried when Brooke got engaged because I was so happy for her. I was like waiting for her to have her love story and her happily ever after, and I was just like bawling when she got like proposed
This is why
to.
you like Brooke so much. You relate to her.
Shut up.
No, I'm gonna be. I'll be sad when you get engaged
Why?
because I won't be able to make my jokes anymore. I'm just playing.
Season eight. I think I cried at Brooke's wedding, and then the finale because it felt like it was ending, and I was just really upset about it.
Hmm.
And then surprise, it wasn't over.
Surprise!
And then I cried when Dan died.
That was emotional.
I remember
Wait,
Haley saying that she was going to tell her daughter about her grandfather, and she said some nice things. I don't remember exactly what she said, but I was like, "Oh, that's really sweet," and I started crying.
I when Keith and Dan reunited, that was a emotional one for me because
Yes, when
like
he said I have a plus one. I was like, "Oh my god."
And then you also think, well, if Dan can get into heaven, I should be golden.
Right. And then I cried during the finale, when they sang "I Don't Want to Be." But I also cried when Nathan gave Haley like a real jewelry bracelet and said, "Don't say I never gave you anything."
Uh,
Um, he said, "Because you gave me everything," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then they had their little dance in the rain. It was so cheesy and such like a fan service, like all the stuff that like is for that couple. But it was just
you
so
that
good.
that finale was very much for the fans.
Hmm. And I think that's it that I can recall.
Okay, well, since we talked about a lot of sad moments, what's your favorite happiest moment?
My favorite happiest moment?
Or just any moment that's not sad that you just love?
Um, I don't know if there's like a moment, but I like the more lighthearted episodes they do sometimes, like the camping episode in season 3, where
Okay.
P1 showed up and he was doing his eyeliner with the girls.
I was afraid. I was like, this is when we jumped the shark. This is literally when we jumped the. And then, we just kept going.
I liked the episode in season 4 because in this episode we saw that Mouth left town with Rachel. He blew off his finals, in, excuse me, graduation.
Hmm.
And I like the episode where they go find Mouth, and that was the contest that some high school won to have their prom
I know
here
a
in
girl.
Montreal.
I know. I have a friend who she went to. She's from that town.
Really?
Yeah, she was. That happened, but she remembers it.
um, I like the Hangover episode in season 8. That's one of the few
That
episodes I enjoy from season 8.
that was a really good one. That was.
Mhm. Uh, you go, and I'll try and think of others.
Well, yeah, I mentioned season 4 when they have that moment. Uh, you know, it's you I want to be standing next to. But I love season 6 when it starts and we find out that Lucas chose Peyton.
I graciously conceded, even though I liked Brooke and Lucas. But I did like they kind of showed they tricked you by making it look like first he married Lindsay and then he
Mhm.
married Brooke, because I like how Brooke called him Mr. Davis instead of.
And what's funny is she married Julian, who I could totally see him being called Mr. Davis.
Yeah, well, Julian became Brooke's bitch from like season 8 on to the end.
I still like Julian. I feel like that was a good person for her to end up with.
No, totally. I wanted them to be together, even though I didn't like the shift in his personality. But
When that Clay's little boy called Quinn Mom,
oh yeah,
I was like,
yeah. I didn't like Quinn for like a season and a half, but
what?
from that Hangover episode, because she was actually funny in that episode till the end. I liked her because all she did was cry.
It's One Tree Hill. It's all they all do.
Yeah, but it was annoying. I felt like she like was playing head games with Clay.
Okay. Well,
How did you feel about the new cast members from season 7 on?
I was okay. I was okay with it. I knew that Brooke or Peyton and Lucas were leaving on, I guess, their own terms. Even though I know part of it was contract stuff and stuff that we won't know about. I guess um, it wasn't the same, of course, but it probably helped the show in some ways because what were we gonna do with Lucas and Peyton then?
Yeah.
You know.
Um, I liked Clay. He was one of my favorite, and Alex. I liked
Oh,
Alex.
I just like Clay. He was on Lipstick Jungle and Shirtless a lot, and
Yes, he
they they
was.
they object they objectified Clay a lot on Lipstick Jungle. That's not his
Yeah.
name. His name's Robert Buckley, but
Um, yeah. Also, he did a movie with Heather Locklear called Flirting with 40.
mhm.
I have it on DVD. We should watch it for Queers Night Out.
um,
um,
But I did like that they added Chris Keller at the end. I thought that was fun.
It was fun. It was borderline overdose though. He was like, because he was always fun because he would pop in and pop out.
Yeah. I missed when Mia left though. I thought Mia should have stuck around a little more.
I did like Mia. Chase never did it for me, and I never bought that Brooke would date somebody like Chase. It just never clicked for me in season 4 when they were together.
He was a rebound. We'll just say rebound.
Yeah, I'm just like, let's. And then when he came back, I'm like, please, let's not ever revisit this. I wanted her with the hot bartender, Joe Manganiello, from season 5. But I guess because of the writer's strike and he wasn't a contract cast member, and then he got True Blood after that, that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have been down for that. I was like, oh, Millie got to sleep with him. I was like, all right, Millie.
Oh, I forgot about Millie. I like Millie. I thought Victoria was a nice little antagonist to bring on as well.
Who? Victoria?
Yeah, Victoria.
Yeah. I liked when Millie became a co-core. After her whole zero is not a size like incident. um, Even to this day, when I watch season 7 and there's that whole scandal with did Nathan sleep with that girl and get her pregnant or didn't he? I'm like, oh my god, did he? Because they did it so well. Like I was questioning it.
Yeah, they had some moments where it was like, but I was almost like, Nathan, really? Again? Again? Yeah.
I like drunk Nanny Deb.
Her and Skills were a pairing I did not know I needed.
I like that she basically disarmed Nanny Carey with her wine bottle.
That was a good scene. That was a really good, yeah.
I really like the episode in season 7 where it's like the 80s like John Hughes tribute.
Oh, mm-hmm. And Brooke and Julian have their little 16 candle moment. Oh wait, that was Haley.
It was Nathan and Haley.
Haley, sorry.
Yeah, 16 candles, yeah.
Brooke was the Breakfast Club where she would dance to it.
Mm-hmm. I also liked that I think she was Australian, maybe she was British, actress that was on the show that bought the label in season 7.
Oh yeah. She was British, I believe.
Yeah.
They kind of just got rid of her, like.
Yeah, I think they explained it in like an offline, like her
Yeah.
green card expired or something. I don't know. They said something.
Yeah.
I was really sad that Alex had to leave in season 9 after only like a couple episodes.
Because of everything, like when I rewatch the show now, because of the things we know now that we didn't know then, when it comes to the female characters, I'm just like, oh, did like that person who shall not be named do something like did
Yeah.
maybe Jenna Kramer was like, oh no, sorry, no thanks, and he's like, writing you out, you know.
Yeah, I was very like aware of that with Danielle as Rachel in this episode because I was just like, oh, and they've mentioned like, oh, if they fought back or they disagreed with something or with a line or wardrobe, whatever, that they would be punished with like whatever words they had to say on screen or the storyline that they had to do. So I'm like, was this like her punishment?
Yeah, because I honestly thought we were going to get a redeemed Rachel at some point.
She had a line where Mal said, I don't know, maybe I'm nuts or something, and she's like, no, you're not. She's like, trust me, I've seen a lot of nuts. And I'm just like, that feels like something sleazy they put in there.
Yeah, because they knew she didn't want to.
Yeah.
But they handled it like they did wonderfully, those women, wonderful just having to do that and be, you know. And I'm glad that's why I'm really glad about Drama.
Yeah. I will say that the show, even though it had, peaks and valleys, like life, it was consistently good from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Which is how I feel about Knots Landing, so you need to get back on that.
I'm working tour. I'm busy. Give me a break. No.
Do you have anything else to say about the show?
I mean, I could talk forever about One Tree Hill, but no. I mean, I'm
You'll,
brand.
well,
I'm branded, so
yeah, you'll spare the listeners.
yeah. When all that came out about what went on behind the scene, it broke my heart because my favorite characters are the female characters on this show. To me, they are what made One Tree Hill.
Hmm.
The Peyton, Brooks, Haley, their friendship. Even though those men were probably trying to make them do things they didn't want to particularly do, I still think they handled it well. And still, my favorite characters are the women.
Yeah, me
I mean,
too.
I like Nathan and
Lucas.
Lucas and Keith and Whitey and that. But when it comes down to it, they could do a revival and they could just do like Haley, Peyton, and Brooke are going to go on a road trip to see old friends,
Hmm.
and I'd be fine with it.
The adult years were definitely carried on the backs of Sophia Bush and Bethany Joy Lenz.
Yes, it was.
Even on the DVD covers, they are front and center. Like they are the leads of the show.
And for good reason. I
And
think,
they did it. They put in work. They did
I mean, Brooke,
it.
Sophia Bush is the only one, she's in every episode but one,
But the pilot, yeah.
which isn't her fault because, she wasn't created at the time.
Yeah.
So in some ways, she is One Tree Hill, in my opinion.
Because even Haley's missing from a few episodes in season 2 when she's on tour.
Hmm.
And Nathan went to recurring in season 9, so she's been in the
Hmm.
most. Sophia Bush, excuse me, has been in the most episodes. Love her.
I do too. That's why my dogs are named after her and her character. But yes, that's all I got. Happy One
Yeah.
Tree Hill Day, everybody.
Yes, happy One Tree Hill Day. Thank you for joining us. And as always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Now go watch One Tree Hill.